Have you ever noticed how the exact same piece of data can mean two totally different things? Seriously, think about it. Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're tearing down how we look at information. We're going to dissect this fascinating concept, how a single variable, whether that's a digital value like speed or just a simple ink stroke, transforms completely depending on the system that's looking at it. It's kind of like a prism. The input is exactly the same, but the output? It bends and fractures into completely different realities based on its environment. It's a wildly eye-opening way to view the world, and we're going to break it all down step by step. Let's jump in. Okay, so here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the illusion of negative speed, then move to hooks, wedges, and carets. After that, standard letters and their hidden meanings, followed by monograms, sigils, and notes. And finally, we'll wrap up with the final geometric boundary.
All right, Section 1, the illusion of negative speed. Let's see how different platforms interpret negative playback. I love starting here because it perfectly nails our core theme. The medium absolutely dictates the meaning. Just think about the video player you use every single day. If you're watching YouTube or Netflix, negative playback speed literally doesn't exist. Those platforms only understand moving forward. Sure, you can slow it down to 0.25x, but a negative value means absolutely nothing. But take that exact same negative variable into professional video editing software, like Adobe Premiere, it's a whole different ballgame. Negative speed flawlessly executes a reverse playback. Editors use those JKL keyboard shortcuts all the time. Hitting J literally plays the clip backward. The input value is identical, but the system's reaction, night and day.
And it gets even crazier when we look at physical media. With analog formats like vinyl records or tapes, speed and pitch are permanently locked together. So playing a record at a negative speed doesn't just put the timeline in reverse, it fundamentally changes the audio itself. A negative 1.0x speed gives you that classic backmasking effect. Reverse sounds, but at a normal pitch. But what if you apply a negative 0.5x speed? Well, if you've ever messed around with an old turntable, you know exactly what happens next. It doesn't just play backwards slowly, it actually drops the audio down an entire octave. The physical physics of the system totally dictates the reality of the sound.
Moving right along to Section 2, hooks, wedges, and carets. We're deconstructing simple geometric strokes.
Let's take that exact same logic of digital context and apply it to static visual shapes. Picture a left-facing hook, a vertical line with a little arc curving off the top. Depending on the system you're using, this single stroke does drastically different jobs. In Thai script, it's a dependent vowel, making a long ah sound. In linguistics, it's a glottal stop, like that little catch in your throat when you say uh-oh. But historically, oh, this is cool. Back in the 1580s, a printer named Henry Denham used it as the percontation point. It was basically a reversed, dotless question mark used to explicitly flag a rhetorical question, meaning a question that requires absolutely zero answer. Such a brilliant, forgotten piece of typography, all hiding inside a simple left hook. Now, watch how this logic stacks up across totally unrelated disciplines. Look at this composite shape here, a vertical bar with a floating caret or chevron right above it. If you're studying French or Romanian, that's just a single integrated character, an I with a circumflex. But drop that exact same arrangement into computer programming, say regular expressions, it transforms into a strict computational pattern matcher. The vertical pipe means or, and the caret means the absolute start of a line. And if we rewind way back to ancient history, it mirrors ancient Ogham script or Germanic runes, where a central vertical spine acts as a backbone for intersecting branches. Three wildly distinct worlds using the exact same visual blueprint. Which brings us to Section 3, Standard Letters, Hidden Meanings. The secret lives of R, K, and L. Go ahead and look down at your keyboard for a second. We're going to stop seeing the letter R as just a letter. When typographers look at it, they see pure architecture. They see a stem, that's the main vertical stroke on the left. They see a bowl, the closed loop at the top. And they see a leg or tail, that diagonal line kicking out down to the right. And this specific geometry is so potent that if you just mirror it horizontally, flip it around, it completely stops being an English R and becomes the Cyrillic letter Ya, which makes a J sound in Russian. Same exact architectural parts, totally different phonetic system.
And notice how right-angle geometry completely shifts meaning when we look at the letter L. In a standard sans serif font, yep, it's an L. In math and geometry, that squared-off shape establishes a perfect 90-degree right angle, or historically a factorial boundary. But here's the twist, and this is a real game changer. If you take that L and flip it upside down so the horizontal arm sits at the top and points left, it becomes the mathematical operator for not, the logical negation symbol in Boolean algebra. Think about how wild that is for a second. You do a simple flip, and the shape goes from a passive measurement tool into a strict, undeniable command for absolute denial. All right, Section 4. Monograms, sigils, and notes. Complex combinations and musical geometry. Time for a quick speed round. Let's watch how a perfect circle, sliced by a 45-degree diagonal line, changes its identity seamlessly based on the textbook you're holding. Got a Danish or Norwegian language guide? That's the O/, a super common vowel. Open a computer science textbook? That exact slash circle is the empty set, a mathematical concept containing literally 0 elements. Hand that same shape over to an engineer or an architect? Boom! It instantly becomes the official symbol for a circular diameter measurement.
Now let's step back in time to Hausmarken, or Hausmarks. You can think of these as the ancient ancestors of the modern corporate logo. Long before standardized branding, scribes and stonecutters would purposefully overlap standard letters like A, T, and I into these dense, interlocking blocks. By forcing the letters to share boundaries, like say the top horizontal bar acting as both the cap of a T and the anchor point for an A, they created these super-specific merchant sigils. These stark, geometric brands could represent a whole family lineage or guild house without using any full text, easily stamped right onto property blocks.
And this perfectly illustrates how musicians read geometry. Just look at the construction of middle C in standard sheet music. This isn't a letter. It's a set of highly specific structural instructions. You've got the note head, that tilted elliptical disc, the stem, which dictates the rhythmic duration, and the ledger line, that horizontal bar slicing right through the oval to show its exact pitch alignment outside the main staff. Geometrically, this specific arrangement, an oval suspended on a line, directly echoes the design of an ancient masonry plumb bob. You know, the tool builders used to find a true vertical path. It's pure structural utility translated into sound.
And now for Section 5, the final geometric boundary, the rectangle of human existence.
For our final section, we're zooming way out. We're moving from complex music notes to the starkest, most basic shape of them all, the simple hollow rectangle. And when you track this block across systems, its power is kind of incredible. In digital computing, this empty box is playfully called tofu. It pops up as a fallback block when a computer hits a character missing from its font data, a literal blank data field. But in ancient Phoenician scripts, this rectangle was Beth, the ancestor to our modern letter B, and it was drawn as an actual floor plan or house enclosure. And in high-level math, an empty square at the end of a paper is called a tombstone. It visually declares QED, meaning the mathematical proof is officially closed and complete.
Which brings us to a really profound quote from our source material. This framing takes all the highly technical geometry we've been talking about today and applies it directly to human existence. It suggests that this rectangular shape, this bounded box, maps our entire consumption ration. It represents everything from the microscopic dot of a zygote you consumed from your mother, expanding all the way to what you consumed from Mother Earth at death. The final, undeniable rectangle of your burial plot. The geometry literally scales right alongside our lifespan.
So that leaves us right here. We've seen speed turn into reversed pitch and simple strokes morph into ancient architecture. I want to leave you with this one final provocative thought. Does meaning actually exist within a shape itself, or is the reality of the world just a complete fabrication of the system that's looking at it? Next time you see a letter, a musical note, or just a simple box on a screen, ask yourself what system is deciding its truth. Thanks so much for focusing in with me today for this explainer. Keep questioning the structures around you.